am a complete and utter self-confessed gadget addict, so it was only a matter of time before I got an iPad Pro. This is a video all about what it can add to your life as a photographer and whether or not it's worth it, because they are quite expensive. Oh, and I've edited this entire video on my iPad, including any photos I might show. First of all, to kit your iPad out specifically for photography, you will need a dongle. The newer iPad Pro has a USB-C, so if you have a USB-C dongle to SD or USB, job's a good one. If not, they are quite cheap. I went for a Hyperdrive branded one just because it matches the aesthetic of the iPad and it's quite minimal. And of course, you will need your editing software. I use Lightroom Mobile because I subscribe to it, but other mobile editing softwares are available. So those are the bare minimum. iPad, dongle, software. Not too bad. What you might want to make your life easier is an Apple Pencil, which I would highly recommend because it makes sort of the intricate photo editing aspects really cool. And also some external storage. I've got an SSD Samsung travel hard drive, just because you can power it without adding any additional power. If you get certain older sort of spinny hard drives, you sometimes need to plug the iPad into the mains to power them, and that makes it all a bit less portable. So solid state if you can afford it. So workflow. How do we get the photos onto the iPad and then do what we do with them? First of all, we take the photos. Using the dongle, we put the SD into the iPad, or if you have a USB-C camera, like the Lumix S1 and some of the Sony ones, you can run a USB cable direct from the camera itself. From the Files menu, which is a new iOS 13 update, which makes it much easier to get things on and off your iPad, you can copy the photos and videos into the storage of your iPad. If you'd like to make a backup at this point, you can also copy them onto your SSD. When I'm traveling, I find having a backup is just essential, so I will always get into the habit of copying it onto the iPad, copying it onto the hard drive. Then I have many backups in all worrying cases. You're sorted. Unless everything gets stolen, but let's not think about that. You can copy everything directly onto your camera roll, but personally I find it a little bit messy. So I copy it into Files, and then using the Files app, you can click on one raw file and swipe through, and then find the ones that you want to edit, and then import them into Lightroom. This is the quickest, most efficient sort of minimal workflow I've found, rather than automatically chucking it all into Lightroom and then having it sync all over the place. Just copying in the ones that I want to edit is how I've found it most useful, but your mileage may vary. In Lightroom Mobile, it's superb. It's very similar, almost identical to what you would find on your laptop or computer. And using the really nice colour accurate iPad screen, it really is a joy to edit on. You can even import your own presets. So I use my own presets, and you've got a great starting point for the rest of your edits. From here, you can just export, and I choose either maximum file size or web size. I tend to sort of save them all into an edited folder, and then I can copy that onto the solid state drive, or my new favourite thing in the world, I can airdrop it to my phone or to my computer. AirDrop has been around for ages, but it really is so cool with how you can sort of whiz files from one device to the next. And if you use an Android phone, fear not, you can use an app called PhotoSync, which will work in exactly the same way. Now, of course, the joy of editing on your iPad on the go is if you want to upload to Instagram, Facebook, whatever, it's already on the device. So you can do it instantly from there. It's so cool. I've been editing each day on the recent sort of road trip that I did, editing wherever I may end up, in sort of the lobby of a hotel, on the balcony, lying down in bed. And then you can edit as you go through your holiday, and you don't come back with a mass of stuff to sift through. It's all fresh in your head each day. And then you can upload it, save it to the cloud, share it with friends and family, whatever you want to do. I've really enjoyed sort of the instant one-stop process from camera to iPad to the world, or to my very small Instagram audience. But either way, to the world. So that's the main thing that I bought it for. Works wonderfully. there are some bonuses that I'd like to talk about as well. 1. If you have a Mac operating system for your main editing, with the new update to both iPad and Mac, you can use your iPad as an external monitor. And also, use the pen and the touchscreen to edit photographs. This is so handy. I've been on the fence about buying sort of a graphics tablet for ages, and now I don't need one because I've got one. When I was doing this Star Trails photograph, which is originally from this time lapse, all of those plain lines in the 200 images needed photoshopping out. Otherwise the whole Star Trails thing would have just looked a mess. So I did it by syncing my iPad to my Mac, using it as a mirrored monitor, and using the pencil, penciling out every single line. Took so much less time than it would with my mouse, and it was a really intuitive way of doing it. Similarly, when I'm doing weddings and I need to sort of retouch the odd sort of blemish on skin or take out people in the background, using this as a secondary monitor in that way works really well. And it works wirelessly, and it works just instantly. You just click a button and it's done. Cool. Another thing I've seen a lot of on Instagram at the moment is this weird thing where you can sort of draw on your images, and I'm not the biggest fan of it myself, but it does seem quite popular. So using your iPad, if you want to jump on that bandwagon, it's very easy to do. And 3, while Lightroom Mobile is on your iPad ready to go, Photoshop is said to be released by the end of 2019. So if you're already subscribed to Creative Cloud, that's on the way. And having a fully functional version of Photoshop on a tablet is going to be so handy. If you don't want to wait for Photoshop, or if you don't subscribe to Creative Cloud, there is an amazing app called Affinity Pro, which does pretty much the same thing. I haven't bought it myself because I'm holding out for Photoshop, because I am, at heart, a cheapskate. And now for some fun stuff. Because, you know, photography is great, but this is an iPad at the end of the day and it can do so much more. When I was traveling, I've got so many games on the iPad that I absolutely love. And you can connect your PlayStation controller or your Xbox controller to your iPad and shoot 8-year-olds in the lobby waiting to get on your plane. Not literally, in the game. And I've been playing Sonic the Hedgehog, I've been playing shoot 'em ups, I've been playing loads of different games with the controller. And it's kind of like having my Nintendo Switch with me now. I don't necessarily need to take my Nintendo Switch. Even Mario Kart is coming out onto the iPad soon. So if we imagine that we are going to be travelling with this device a lot, it's an added bonus that you can use it as like a gaming console as well. Also with the Apple Pencil, Lord knows I cannot draw, but why the heck not try? Seeing as we have all this wonderful software at our disposal, I've been watching Bob Ross on Netflix and following along on my iPad with varying degrees of success. One day I might be able to draw more than a stick man. This video, of course, is mostly about photography because that was my main sort of reason for buying it, but video editing on your iPad is superb as well. You can buy LumaFusion, which is like basically like a light version of Final Cut, and I think it was 20 quid. 20 quid. Final Cut is like 300 quid on the Mac, and for 20 quid you can get LumaFusion on your iPad. All this video is being edited with it. You can edit very similarly. You know, you can chop, you can add audio, you can add transitions, you can even add your own LUTs. So if you want to use it for YouTube as well, absolutely brilliant. I even used it for vertical videos when I was out and about, you know, for Instagram stories. I feel like sometimes for Instagram stories it has to be quite current to what you're doing for it to be relevant, and sometimes if you wait till you get home and then make them, doesn't quite work. So if you can do them at the end of the day of your holiday with a beer on the porch, upload what you've done for the day and it looks really cool. And then bonus tip for your YouTube-y stuff, if you do video editing on this, is if you screen record and use your pencil, you can add animations until your heart is content. So you can use titles if you have decent handwriting, which I don't. You can draw, you can do emphasis of things, whatever you like. It's very easy and it's much more creative and personal using the pencil. Okay, I will stop chatting about my new favourite toy in the world. And once I stop recording, I'm going to import all this footage onto my iPad and edit in 4K on the couch, probably with a beer. Any questions, let me know, and thank you so much for watching.